Hey guys, how are you? My name is Matt Ackerson. I'm the founder of AutoGrow.co, as you may or may not already know. And if you do not know or are not familiar with AutoGrow.co, we are a website that receives approaching 40,000 visits per month. We've been in business since 2010. And we started out as an agency, and as of 2018 became a product business selling our own products, such as our sales funnel diagram pack, sales funnel blueprint, and the six-figure sales funnel, our most premium training offering. And before that, we were an agency specializing in building sales funnels for clients, designing the website, writing all the copy, setting up the email automation, optimizing. So we have a lot of experience in doing this sort of stuff. And today, since we're selling our own products, I tend to work with my team day to day. And that's why today I want to give you, as I do in other videos, I want to give you my review of Thrive Themes, which is a popular tool that I know a lot of people use, and we have recommended it in the past to our email list and to students of our training. But let's actually go through it point by point and see if that's still the case. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Screen, desktop one, share screen. Cool. All right, so you should be able to see that just fine. All right, so this is my Thrive Themes review, and I've broken it down into a few different dimensions. Let's tackle one at a time. So the first is on features. So looking at Thrive Themes, purely on a feature standpoint, I would say that they are extremely feature rich, and this is one of their top selling points. The fact that it just does a lot of stuff. So as you can see here, I mean, it's really, Thrive Themes, think of it more kind of as like a suite of WordPress plugins that do some different things. So for example, they have Thrive Ovation, which is for capturing and displaying testimonials and social proof in general. Thrive Optimize for A/B testing, Thrive Leads for pop-ups and banners and sidebar widgets, Thrive Ultimatum, and then of course Thrive Themes, which is they actually have a set of themes, and you can build landing pages as part of that in what they call Thrive Architect. So there's a lot to unpack here. Let me give you a really simple overview of what I think. So for Thrive Leads, for their Leads plugin here, it's great. It works really well. We haven't really had many issues with it, except that it can be a little annoying to work with as far as targeting. Like if you want to display multiple widgets on a page, like have one be a sidebar banner advertising one thing and then something below it, you can't do that. You can only do one per page. And that's a design decision that they made. But for our business, we would like to display two widgets, but unfortunately, we can't do that. Something that that I really love though about Thrive Leads is that they have smart widgets and I guess smart pop-ups too, you could call it. And this is related to the idea of building a smart sales funnel or smart funnels, a phrase that I coined back in 2014 to talk about the upcoming, increased sophistication of different websites and how they will just become more and more personalized to individual visitors as you visit them. The same way that Google search results is personalized to you based on your location, time of day, and other factors. So what they can do, for example, with a pop-up, if someone comes to your website, or a sidebar widget, if someone comes to your website from your email newsletter, well, they don't need to still join your email list, so why are you showing them an offer to join your email list? Instead, with their advanced feature for this, you can display an offer to them, for a product or service that you're offering, or a call to action for a product or service, instead of showing them the same offer to join your email list if they're already on your email list. And if you don't want to display anything at all, you also have the option to do that. So Thrive has worked really well. Thrive Leads, that is. Other parts of the plugin like Thrive Optimize, we haven't really used as much, but I can't really complain or say that we've had any problems with them. This was for an A/B test that I don't think we ever really got off the ground, but gives you an idea of what the interface looks like for it. Pretty straightforward. For Thrive Ultimatum, this is something that we've used a lot more frequently as far as when we've launched things, we'll only have something be available for a limited amount of time, or we'll have like a one-time discount for existing customers, for example, coming back to upgrade their membership or something to that effect. And this has worked relatively well, but still some bugs. For example, the countdown banner might expire and then not redirect visitors to another page, which it should, and which we tell it to do. And finally, the biggest headache has unfortunately been their landing page building tool. So for example, I'll give you an idea of what the interface for that looks like. See how long it takes to load. But the interface for this is really intuitive, and I like it a lot better. And I've used many other tools like Leadpages. We're actually a Leadpages customer at the same time that we're a customer of Thrive. So Thrive is, it has a lot of promise, I feel, as far as the interface, and it's pretty easy to kind of get things in place and kind of massage it so that it looks good on mobile as well. But let me actually hit back here while this is still loading. And because that's another issue. The damn plugin will actually just get stuck loading sometimes when you just want to edit a page to change something usually important, and it will just get stuck loading like this, unfortunately. But to give you an example of I think one of the biggest drawbacks that I've seen recently is that it will have issues with actually displaying images on the page. Like you'll like add an image, and it will just, the image will just poof, disappear. So for example, we're supposed to have this is on one of our premium training launch pages that we only open the doors for like once a month or once every 3 months. But you can see there's an image that's supposed to be here that's just not displaying right now. So that's a big drawback to it. The other thing that I think is a big drawback is, in terms of functionality, is the fact that it is a WordPress plugin. It is a WordPress plugin. So you really have to keep it up to date. Otherwise, that tends to cause issues by itself. And because it's built on top of someone else's platform, in a sense. Here, let me actually stop sharing for a second. Looks like, okay, there we go. Let's give it some time to load. You can see my frustration as I'm trying to give this demo. Obviously, it's not even working for that. All right, but let's move on to the next set of criteria. So overall, in terms of features, has a lot of promise, but it tends to really under-deliver on some of the most important points. For example, just working on a fundamental level. I've seen it also often when you're editing. We had a pop-up where we changed the font, and then it changed it back to something else. Or even, we didn't even change it. I think it was always like Arial, whatever the font family was, and then would reverse it back to Times New Roman, and it was like, where did that come from? And I've seen that on multiple websites, actually. So let's go back and screen share here. All right. So that's Thrive in terms of features. In terms of pricing, this is where I think it really shines and probably stands out from a lot of its competition. It is incredibly affordable. I believe a personal license, or rather, it could be personal. You can use it for your business website, whatever. But just for one website, for $199 per month, or rather per year. you're probably a lot happier now because I said per month and then per year, right? Um, yeah, it's really cheap at $199 per year, and I believe it might even be cheaper because they do have a monthly option. But if you prepay, it's like $199 or less per month. And then if you want a business license where you can use it on many more websites, like if you're an agency doing this for clients, you can pay, I think it's something around $500 a year. You have to check their most up-to-date pricing. They do specials, but not really anymore. And they used to have an unlimited license. Unfortunately, now I think they cap it at like 30 licenses or 50. But in terms of value or supposed value in terms of the features that they promise, it's a pretty good deal on that front. Now, as far as the competition is concerned, I would most readily compare it to Leadpages. Of course, there's also Instapage and a bunch of others as well. I am most familiar with Leadpages, so that is what I will compare it to. I think that Thrive gives you more power and customization ability with with your landing pages, but again, it just falls short in terms of getting it right. And that's where I think Leadpages shines by comparison, because its web pages are optimized to load, through its content delivery network, so they will load faster. Versus Thrive, which is built on top of WordPress, it has to go and query the database and load the page from there. That's another thing too that's worth mentioning too, is that the way that it's designed at a technical level is it will take up an incredible amount of database space. And you may not think, well, I got plenty of space, it's not a big deal. Well, when we're talking in terms of gigabytes for a database, it can cause your server to crash, if you're not prepared for that, and it just in general slow down overall in page load time. So, for example, at the beginning of this year, when we just started to use Thrive, I think our database was something like 200 megabytes. And now it's just under 1 gigabyte, or maybe even a little more, like 1.5 gigabytes actually. Yeah, it's 1.5 gigabytes. And that growth is almost entirely from Thrive, from the landing pages that we've created. So unfortunately, the competition doesn't have all the features and functionality of Thrive, but they get the basics right, and the basics matter so much more. So unfortunately, the competition is looking better at this moment. Now, in terms of support, again, we're also a customer of Leadpages. I think that the support is okay for Thrive. It's okay. It can be a little bit, it's not as instantaneous as the support is for Leadpages, where you can chat through a chat widget, for example. It's a little more responsive, and I think that some of the support agents seem a little more, knowledgeable sometimes, or empathetic. I would say empathetic overall. But the advantage to support with Thrive is that you're often talking to people who are more technically savvy. So if you have an issue, they can help you to troubleshoot it, not just on a personal level, but on a technical level, and get a better result. But ideally, in terms of comparison, I've had to contact support many more times for Thrive than I have for Leadpages, for example. And unfortunately, I don't think that's a good thing. Because if a product is doing what you want and it's easy to figure out on your own, you usually shouldn't have to contact support. So the final verdict is, I'm actually going to say that we don't. Thrive is a good choice if you're just starting out. But for more mature businesses where the landing page has to load fast, and you don't want to deal with support because you're busy, you're moving fast, Thrive might not be the right option for you, especially in terms of its landing page builder. In terms of everything else, it seems to be a pretty good choice, and we will absolutely still continue to stick with Thrive and recommend them for their pop-up abilities, for their sidebar widgets, and this, the smart functionality associated with that. The Thrive Ultimatum plugin, which we've, the countdown timers, those have worked relatively well. But for landing pages, especially, like, it's okay for just starting out, but because I do recognize that perhaps there's a possibility that some of the errors that I've told you may be unique to our server or whatever, how we're set up on WordPress. That's a possibility, okay, just to be fully transparent. So if you're just starting out, it's a great deal, best bang for your dollar. But for more mature businesses where the landing page has to look perfect, has to load fast, and you can't deal with this stuff, go with lead pages or something else, or just custom code it, which is what we're doing. We're custom coding it because it's gonna load really fast, and we have the most control over it that way too. So that's the verdicts. It's really not exactly a for or against. It's kind of an if-then. If you are a new business and money is tight and you want the best bang for your buck, go with Thrive. Right? It's a pretty good product overall, despite some of these drawbacks that I've talked about. But for the long term, more mature business, you don't want to deal with these issues. You don't want random, things not working. You want it, really consistently working. You might want to consider a different option in that case. But for pop-ups and widgets and some of the other features I mentioned, it's a solid choice. All right. So that is it for this video. As always, my name is Matt Ack in the Mad Hat, delivering you your daily dose of Mad Hacks. And if you like this video, if you like this review, if it was useful to you, leave a comment, let me know. I would love to hear from you. And if you have a question about how to grow, create, or scale your sales funnel, leave a comment below as well. I will consider answering it in an upcoming video, okay? And if you want to learn how to create your own sales funnel using tools like Thrive and Lead Pages and ActiveCampaign and other tools from scratch. By the way, one thing I didn't mention really briefly, Thrive integrates, worth saying, Thrive integrates with all the most important email marketing providers that you can imagine. So you're all set on that front as well. But if you want to learn how to actually build from scratch your own automated sales funnel that can send you literally thousands of fresh leads every single month without $1 spent on ads, go ahead and check out our Sales Funnel Blueprint course. It gives you a great introduction for exactly how to do that at a very affordable price. All right, so go check that out on autogrow.co/products, and I will see you in the next video. Keep hustling, stay focused. I'll talk to you soon.